What's up guys, it's your host here, Spartanic Arts DxD, back with another Naruto video, and today we are doing Naruto Demon Life. After returning Sasuke Uchiha to the village, Naruto is attacked by an angry mob. Sick and tired of their treatment, he leaves the village behind, swearing revenge on all of those who have wronged him. Lucky for him, the QB's more than willing to lend a hand, godlike powers, and multiple crossovers. So hopefully you guys do enjoy this video and this story. Without further ado, run that intro. Naruto Demon Life, Chapter 1, Departure. Naruto ran as fast as he could, tears streaming down his face, sobs escaping him every few seconds. All he'd ever wanted was to be respected, to become Hokage, and to be acknowledged by the villagers, but it seems that just wasn't meant to be. Stupid Konoha, stupid villagers, after everything I went through to get that bastard back. This is how they repay me? He raged as he jumped from tree to tree, going deeper and deeper into the forest away from Konoha. Stupid Sakura, she didn't even care that I almost died keeping my stupid promise. Now, we enter a flashback. A tired and injured Uzumaki Naruto could be seen approaching the village of Konoha. The unconscious form of Sasuke Uchiha slung over his shoulder while Naruto was completely covered in many scrapes and cuts, not to mention that giant hole in his chest. That traitor Uchiha was only a little bit banged up from their fight. Despite his state, Naruto was grinning proudly. He'd done it. He'd beaten the great Sasuke Uchiha. Now everyone would rejoice and cheer his name. Even as he approached the gates, he could see many of the villagers and his beloved Sakura waiting for them. They would have to respect him now. At last, he defeated the mighty Uchiha. He couldn't wait. Hey, Sakura-chan, I kept my But Naruto began in a cheerful tone, but he was interrupted by one of his oldest acquaintances, someone he met often as a child while walking through the village. Good old Mr. Rock to the head. Damn you, demon. Look what you did to that last Uchiha, screamed the villager who'd thrown it. In his dazed state, Naruto could only watch Sakura ran up to him and grabbed the Uchiha off his shoulder, then proceeded to punch him in the face extremely hard. Stupid Naruto, baka, I asked you to bring him back to me, not try to kill him. I guess you really are a demon. Why can't you just die and leave us all in peace, she screeched, holding Sasuke tightly and rushing towards the hospital. Naruto could feel the tears welling up in his eyes. As he surveyed the angry mob before him, he could clearly notice the faces he knew, like Kakashi and the other Jonin senseis that had returned from their missions while retrieval team was gone. Ino, Tenten, and even Hinata, all of them were among the mob that was shouting for his blood, drawing their weapons now that Sakura and Sasuke were no longer in the line of fire. This was the scene that greeted an angry Tsunade in Jiraiya. What the hell is going on here? Screamed the enraged Hokage, her fist clenching in anger. Kakashi appeared to be the only one brave enough to answer Hokage-sama. Seeing the look in her eyes, he chose to play it safe. Naruto was grievously injured Sasuke, his teammate. Clearly, this is proof that QB is in control. He needs to be punished for his actions. Hearing this from his own sensei, Naruto felt like he'd taken another Chidori through the heart. First Sakura-chan and now Kakashi-sensei. I thought we were a team, a family, but it looks like even they think I'm a bloody demon. Yeah, he needs to learn his place. How dare he hit Sasuke like that? Ino screeched, regaining her mettle after hearing Kakashi. This served to intense the rest of the mob, and they all began shouting once more. Yeah, kill the demon! Let's teach him a lesson. He needs to learn his place. With each uttered line, Naruto felt more and more pain pierce through his chest. Like this, his heart was being ripped apart. He just couldn't take it anymore. Enough! Screamed Tsunade, flaring her chakra and silencing the mob. The Uchiha was a traitor. He betrayed us to join Orochimaru. Naruto was well within his rights to use force. If I was in his place, I would have saved everyone in trouble and killed the prick then and there. Turning to Naruto, and she smiled, continue on. Come on, Naruto, let's get you back to the hospital and have that wound looked at. No, the smaller blonde replies, eyes burning with defiance. What? Tsunade asked in surprise, completely caught off guard by his reply. I said no more. I'm done. I quit. After everything I've done for this village, after 13 years to get over their losses, they still see me as the QB. I don't care anymore. I quit, Naruto shouted, throwing a final glare at the mob, a glare with enough hate and anger to cause a few of them to stumble back. Even the ninja in the crowd, he turned around and ran off. Turning to the mob, Tsunade gave them a death glare of her own and whispered just loud enough for them to hear, I hope you all are happy now. The mob quailed under her glare, and she could not only snort in disgust before turning to Jiraiya. Follow after him, pervert. Make sure he's okay and bring him back when he's calmed down. Sure thing, Tsunade, said Jiraiya, grinning confidently. With that, they both jumped away, one towards the village and one into the forest. There was a moment of silence before the mob broke out in cheers, a few dancing insanely and jumped for joy. Hooray! The demon's finally gone! We're finally safe again! They cheered, smiling, happy. No! Immediately, the cheering stopped, as they all looked at who spoke. It was Kakashi. What do you mean, Kakashi-senpai? The demon's finally gone, asked one of the Chunin. Didn't you hear the Hokage? Jiraiya is just going to bring the demon back unless we do something about it, Kakashi growled, turning and stalking towards the hospital. One of his students was injured after all. In the wake of the copy moment, 4 of the elite Jonin shared a glance and nodded, taking off into the forest in search for Naruto. Flashback has now ended. Landing on a thin branch several miles from the village, Naruto sat down to take a break for his wounds to heal. After all, it's quite difficult to run with a fist-sized hole in your chest. The second he relaxed, there was a tug at the back of his mind, and the blood found himself slipping into unconsciousness. Within a seal a few minutes ago, the QB no Kitsume, sensing his host's emotions, was extremely cautious, not because he could sense the emotions, but because he could sense the high levels of anger and hate. Considering just who his host is, this was a bit of a shock, his curiosity getting the better of him. QB allowed a tendril of his chakra to leak out of the seal, allowed him to tap and to view his host's memories of the last 30 minutes. As he finished viewing the memories, the QB could not help but smirk in satisfaction. How very interesting. Perhaps I can use this to my advantage. Oh yes, this is the time of my ascension. Maybe the brat will be willing to make a deal with me now that he is no longer bound to that pathetic life. The demon chuckled, devious plans flashing through his mind. With a plan in mind, one that he knew his host just wouldn't refuse, QB sent out a second tendril to connect to Naruto's senses, allowing him to view the world through his host's eyes as he noticed his host taking a break. The demon wrapped his chakra around Naruto's mind and tugged, forcefully pulling his host into the seal. As he's with Naruto, as he opens his eyes, Naruto could only sigh as he was met with the sight of a run-down sewer that he'd come to his mindscape. Great, just freaking great. I do not need this right now. Ugh. Let's go see what the almighty fox wants to do now. With that, he stomped down to the familiar path to his left, angrily making his way through the sewer until he entered the large spacious room that was housed the QB. Alright, bastard fox, what do you want? I'm not in the mood for eating your shit right now, Naruto snarled, stomping right down to the large cage and kept the demon at bay. Ha ha ha, I see that you will still refuse to treat me with respect I deserve, you brat. QB chuckled in an odd occurrence as the demon was usually pissed each time they met. You're so damn right I do. Now hurry up and tell me what you want. If you haven't noticed, I'm kind of on the run, and I do not have time to waste, Naruto replied, ignoring the demon's odd mood. Straight to business, huh? Fine then. I called you here to make a deal, QB replied, causing the blonde to blink in surprise. A deal, huh? I'm guessing part of the deal is that I set you free, Naruto asked, eyes narrowing screwily. Correct, QB replied, grinning widely and displaying his own rows of razor-sharp teeth. Why the hell would I do that? I'll die, Naruto shattered, replied, fuming angrily. QB simply chuckled and shifted in his cell before replying. Because, brat, if you accept my deal, you will be able to live through the unsealing. Oh, is that so? Naruto muttered in disbelief. Well, what are you waiting for? Let's hear that deal of yours. I'll get to the deal soon enough. First, I should explain some things to you in order to save questions later. Now be quiet and listen until I'm finished, okay? QB replied, glaring down at the small form of his host. After receiving an affirmative nod, Demon continued. You see, we at Buju are not complete demons. We're actually all parts of a greater creature known as the Yami. Yami was a god of a great power, brother Kami and Shikigami. Yet it had a little control over its great powers and nearly zero sentence. It was nothing more than a crazed beast, hell-bent on destruction, and as the lord of the underworld, it had more than enough power to destroy all creation. Naruto could listen to see the tale with wide eyes, learning a piece of his history that few mortals have ever learned. Eventually, Yami was defeated by the combined efforts of the Kami and the Shikigami, who managed to break it into 10 individual beings. Those beings came to known as the Biju. At the beginning of our birth, we each had no tails to speak, but each one of us had more or less power than the others. We were also considerably smaller than we were today, with myself as the second strongest and only as tall as a young child, whereas Shikaku was the weakest and the smallest. We spent a good millennium together, the 10 of us wandering the world just plain surviving. Eventually my older brother, Jubi, as he was later called, grew his first tail while the rest of us remained tailless. With his first tail, Jubi grew in power, knowledge, and sight, establishing his role as leader of our small family. A millennium later, Jubi grew his second tail and I grew my first, gaining the same growth and ability as my brother before me. So it went from over 8 millenniums, we would each grow a new tail, growing in size and power as we did with Shikaku being the last to gain a tail. Once he grew his 10th tail, Jubi felt the need to go on a killing spree and to celebrate. A stupid idea now that I consider it in hindsight. It was at this time one of you humans discovered chakra and began studying and experimenting with it, hoping to grow strong enough to end the Jubi's killing spree in order to stop Jubi. This human devised a powerful seal that became the first Jinchuriki. He was later known as Ridikyu Sani. Naruto could only gape in shock. First, he learned that the very creature sealed within him, the fox everyone called a demon, was actually part of a god at one point. Then he learned that the Kyuubi used the Chibi fox at one point, which he found positively hilarious, but refrained from laughing out of fear and interest in the story. Finally, he learned the most famous ninja in existence, the creator of all things ninja, was in fact the Jinchuriki just like him. It was a lot to take in, but he continued to listen to the Kyuubi's story. On his deathbed, knowing that the Jubi would be freed after his death, the Ridikyu Senin used the last of his power to split the Jubi into 10 equal parts. 9 of the Jubi's parts were scattered around the world to be absorbed by the remaining Biju, while the last stayed with the Sanin as he died, taking the mind of the Jubi with him. Originally, each Jubi was only meant to reach a set level of power and stop growing, but thanks to the energy from the Jubi, we will all gain one more tail than we were meant to have. That's right, I will eventually gain a 10th tail and ascend to the realm of the gods as Jubi and take Yami's place as the Lord of Hell. The only thing that could possibly stop me is this damn seal. When I claimed the throne of the Jubi, I will be strong enough to break the seal, but in doing so I would anger the Shigami, causing a battle that would likely lead to the destruction of your world, which would in turn draw the wrath of Kami. That would not end well for me, hence the deal I want to make. Well, that was an exciting story, Naruto commented after a few minutes of shocked silence. So what's the deal then? It better be a good one. Kyuubi released an amused chuckle at that. Well, it's only as good as you want it to be, huh? The blonde boy asked in confusion. When I become a Jubi, I will have the power to grant you a wish the cost of the tail's worth of power. It would only take me a handful of centuries to regain my power. I think it's a fine trade. This is my deal. I will grant you 9 wishes. Be they abilities, fame, or fortune, anything you desire. I will grant you in exchange for my freedom. Wow. That was all he could say. Seriously? What more could you say after basically being offered anything you want to be as soon? God. Okay, that's a good deal. A really, really good deal. One question though. Ask away. How will I survive the unsealing when you get the last tail? Naruto asked, wanting a sure answer before agreeing to this deal. I will reach my 10,000 year of creation in a little over a year from now, and you can't die from the sealing if you wish for immortality. Hearing this, Naruto couldn't stop the wide grin and stretched across his face. Oh yes, I suppose you're right. Well, it seems like we have ourselves a deal, Kyuubi-sama. Ha ha ha, finally showing me some respect, huh? The demon laughed, its booming laughter echoing through the sewer around them. I figure since we're no longer enemies, we may as well get along, Naruto replied with a trademark grin. Now, I think it's time I get out of here. I have a lot to think about and only a year to decide on my 9 wishes. Yes, I suppose it's time you get going. I can sense 5 chakra signatures approaching your position. I'll lend you some chakra so you can fight or flee if you need to, Kyuubi replied, sending a wisp of crimson chakra towards the blonde. Thank you, I'm running a bit low after the fight with Sasuke. than on the long run here. I'm sure Konoha already sent Hunter Nin after me. With that, Naruto vanished from his mindscape, awakening into the real world. Now back to the real world. Getting up from his spot, Naruto was about to leap away, then heard the sound of something landing on the branch behind him, a familiar wave of chakra tailing at his senses. Glancing over his shoulder, Naruto couldn't help but frown as 4 more figures came to stop behind the first one. Hello, Jiraiya sensei, so they sent you to kill me. Chapter 2, Preparation. Naruto, I'm not here to kill you, I'm here to bring you back, Jiraiya replied, smiling in a kindly way of his. Before Naruto could reply, the 4th Jonin that had followed Jiraiya attacked, leaping from their branches with the clear intent to kill. As the 4 Jonin got within striking distance, the 2 on one, the blonde's right side, suddenly stiffened and dropped to the ground, while the other 2 leapt away in a rush, landing on a separate branch. The 2 shinobi looked over their downed comrades in shock, noticing the 2 kunai in each of their comrades' skulls, kunai that were clearly thrown by an enraged Jiraiya. What the hell is going on here? You are attacking a fellow shinobi of Konoha. Stand down or I will consider this act of treason. Jiraiya snarled, eyes narrowed in anger as 2 more of the kunai found their way into his hands. We can't allow the demon scum to return to the village, Jiraiya. He must be eliminated, one of the Jonin shouted in reply. You heard him at the gate. He re-announced his allegiance to Konoha, which means that he is no longer a part of Konoha. If you continue to interfere, we will be forced to arrest you for treason. Jiraiya blinked. Naruto blinked. They both broke out in laughter. Shut up. What's so funny? The 2 Jonin shout angrily, completely opposed to being laughed at. You? Arrest me? Oh, Kami. I needed that laugh, Jiraiya chuckled, eyes wandering in amusement. In a blur of the moment, the Toad Sanin vanished from his spot and reappeared behind the 2 Jonin, whose kunai pierced deep into their hearts. Both Jonin dropped to the ground lifelessly, ignored by their killer as he simply wiped his blades clean and tucked them away, before turning to his young apprentice with a wide smile. Right then, overconfident fools aside, I'm here to escort you back to the village, Naruto. I'm not going back, Jiraiya-sensei, Naruto replied, eyes bleeding crimson as he tapped into the Kyuubi's power. I hate it there. Everyone but you, Tsunade, and Ichiraku hates me. Do you think that I didn't hear them cheering after I left? No, I'm not going back there, and if I ever set foot in that village again, it will be so that I can reduce them to ashes. If you leave now, you will be banished a missing ninja, Jiraiya countered, hoping this would see his oppressor to see more reason. You will still have the Akatsuki after you. You'll be much more safer in Konoha, Naruto. It doesn't matter. I bet they already marked me a missing ninja anyway, and I probably will be safer with the Akatsuki than I would at Konoha, Naruto replied, turning his back on his sensei. You know that's not true, Naruto. Tsunade wouldn't let them do that, Jiraiya replied, frowning as he noticed his words were no longer reaching the young teen. I can't let you leave, Naruto. You're going back even if I have to use force. It's for your own safety. He didn't really want to force Naruto back, but Jiraiya knew he had no choice. He couldn't let his apprentice leave like this. It just wasn't safe. With both the 100 ninja and the Akatsuki after him, an untrained shinobi like Naruto wouldn't last very long. The only question was which group would get their hands on him first. So this is how it's going to be, huh, Sensei? Naruto asked, his shoulders slumping in defeat. I'm afraid so, Naruto. It truly is for your own good, Jiraiya replied, glad that the blonde has finally seen reason. As Jiraiya took a single step closer, Naruto exploded into action, his chakra flaring and his hands rising to a familiar position. Caught off guard by the sudden move by his apprentice, Jiraiya was unable to stop Naruto from drawing on the small reserve of chakra provided by the fox and casting his signature jutsu. Shadow Clone Jutsu. Hidden within the smoke of appearing clones, Naruto began running as fast as he could, putting much distance between himself and his fearsome sensei. As the smoke cleared, Jiraiya could only look into shock at the sight before him, his vision filled with endless sea of orange. He knew Naruto could make quite a lot of clones, but this was really too much. There had to be over 3,000 of them all running in different directions. Only a single clone remained behind, tasked to deliver Naruto's final message to his sensei. I'll be back eventually to make those villagers pay, Sensei. I can only hope that you'll take Tsunade and Ichiraku and leave the villagers to their fate. With this message delivered, the clone turned and ran off after its brothers. Jiraiya could only sigh and turn back to the village. There was no way he could find the real Naruto before the teen made it past one of the borders. There was no point trying. Ugh. That brat really knows how to make trouble for others. Tsunade is going to kill me for this. At the Konoha hospital, as Sasuke returned to the land of the conscious, he noticed that he was laying in a bed within a hospital. Well, he was assuming it was a hospital based on the white ceiling and walls. He would also notice that his hands and feet were restrained and strapped to the bed. Sasuke-kun, you're awake! An annoyingly high-pitched voice squealed from beside him. Looking to his right, Sasuke released an annoyed sigh as he noticed Sakura sitting on the chair beside him. So, that idiot beat me, huh? Well, this isn't over. I'll make sure that idiot isn't excused for daring to lay his hands on an Uchiha. Sakura, what happened? The last thing I remember was that brat attacking me after I agreed to return to Konoha, Sasuke muttered weakly, adopting a mask of innocence. Grr, damn that Naruto. I knew there was no way that idiot could beat you. You without cheating, Sasuke-kun? Sakura growled, easily falling for his manipulations. You don't have to worry about the idiot anymore, Sasuke. After seeing what he did to you, we ran that demon out of the village. Damn it, he can't be executed if he ran away. How am I supposed to gain the Mangekyo now? Sasuke cursed, eyes narrowing in air. Whatever. As long as that idiot isn't here to get in my way, I can escape and get to Orochimaru. Now, how do I get them out of here? This is going to cost me. It had to be worth it. Looking over at Sakura, Sasuke applied his most charming smile. That's good. Thank you for taking care of me, Sakura. With that idiot gone, I can finally be with you, and without him getting in our way. Oh, Sasuke, I know you love me, Sakura, started blushing on the right side of her face. When I see that idiot Naruto, I'm going to kill him for getting in the way of true love. Suppressing his disgust, Sasuke lightly rattled his restraints and frowned. Sakura, dearest, would you be so kind to undo these straps so I may embrace you? Yep, Sakura squealed, her blush darkening in color. Of course, I can do anything for you, Sasuke. As soon as he was free, Sasuke vanished and reappeared behind Sakura, knocking her out with a simple chop to the neck. Foolish girl, as if an Uchiha would be ever associated with such a weakling. For freeing me, I will spare your life. Just this once. With that, he leapt out of the window and made a mad dash to the nearest wall and escaped into the forest, headed straight for Orochimaru's. At the Hokage's office, Tsunade sat in her desk, waiting for Jiraiya to return with Naruto, her hands tightly gripping her sake bottle. Please come back safe, Naruto. I'm sure we can make the villagers see you as a hero. They just need more time. Her thoughts were interrupted by the arrival of Jiraiya in the window, alone. Where's Naruto? Did he head to the hospital or his house? Where is he, pervert? I'm sorry, Tsunade. I could not bring him back this time. He was able to escape from me, Jiraiya answered in a solemn tone, prepared to leap away at the first sign of a thrown punch. What? Tsunade shrieked. The word was spoken with so much anger that Jiraiya truly feared for his life. You're a fucking Sannin. How did a beaten up and exhausted Genin manage to escape from you? Shaking like a leaf in the wind, Jiraiya managed to provide a reply. And unknown to him, it was one of the few correct replies that saved him from being punched clear out of the village. I tried to bring him back, but we were attacked by 4 Jonin who had followed me from the village. That didn't really help to sway him when I grabbed him. He created more shadow clones than should be humanly possible and managed to run away. After a few calming breaths, Tsunade glanced up at him, her eyes burning with suppressed rage. And the Jonin that attacked him? I killed them. Good. I suppose we can only hope that he comes back on his own. At least this day can't get any worse, Tsunade sighed, dropping into her seat. It was at this moment a Chunin chose to burst into the office. Hokage! Sasuke Uchiha has escaped from the hospital. Great. Just great. How was he able to get out of the restraints, she growled, already having an idea of how the Uchiha escaped. It appears that she was freed by Sakura Haruno, the Chunin explained, qualing under a vengeful glare of his Hokage. Of course he was. Send out as many teams as you can to find him, Tsunade replied, and sensing the Anbu within the office vanish in search of the Uchiha. Oh, and Sakura and have Sakura taken to Ibiki. Maybe he can find out the way she felt the need to release a known traitor just under the hour of his capture. All right, Hokage. The Chunin saluted, running off and complete to his duties. Tsunade sighed once more and slouched in her seat, pulling out a full bottle of sake and 2 cups. Sit down and tell me exactly what happened with Naruto. Jiraiya flopped down into the other one of the chairs in the room, and before he could begin his tale, the office doors were thrown wide open and walked in Danzo and his minions, otherwise known as Hokage Mikako and Koharu Yuta, the Hokage's advisors. Great. What do you 3 want? Tsunade snapped, completely out of patience at this point. Of course it was Danzo who answered. We are only here to inform you of the council's decision to rank and bounty the traitor, Hokage-sama. Oh? Is that so? What has the Uchida been marked as? Tsunade, as a single brow-raising question. You misunderstand, Hokage. We meant the traitor Uzumaki Naruto, Kuraka replied, eyes darting to Danzo as she speaks. What? Jiraiya and Tsunade both shouted, leaping to their feet. Naruto is not a traitor. If anyone else deserves to be put in the bingo book, it's the Uchiha. Jiraiya snarled, his fingers clenching and closed it in anger. The boy left the village without permission. That makes him a missing ninja, and he will be treated like one. Sasuke Uchiha, on the other hand, has just been misguided by the cursed seal and should be retrieved. We can't afford to lose the Sharingan, Danzo countered. Remembering something from this earlier battle with Jiraiya smirked, much to Danzo's noises. Naruto Uzumaki resigned as a shinobi before he left the village. As such, he was no longer a Konoha ninja, so we can't place him in the bingo book. Hearing this, Tsunade gave a smirk of her own, but their hopes were soon dashed as Danzo grinned and passed them a signed form. According to the law, he is still in service of Konoha, as the paperwork for retirement has yet to be filled. As such, Naruto Uzumaki is officially declared a missing ninja, Haruma explained, causing both Sannin to frown deeply. By the order of Konoha Council, Naruto Uzumaki will be ranked an A-class criminal with a kill on sight and a bounty of 90 million Rojo. Sasuke Uchiha will be ranked a C-class missing ninja with a capture only and a bounty of 120 million Rojo. That is all. Good day, Hokage Sama. With that, the 3 returned and left. Their goals accomplished. As soon as the 3 elders are gone, Tsunade dropped back into the chair, angrily crushing at the sake bottle in her hand. The next day, Naruto woke to the sounds of birds in the morning, a strange event as he was usually woken by a loud beeping of his alarm clock. Taking a few seconds to gain his bearings, the blonde teen leapt to his feet and prepared to set out. He was currently in a cave around the border of Fire Country and River Country, a cave he was able to find before passing out from chakra exhaustion. Well, I'm finally free of Konoha. It feels so good not having to worry about the people people would think of me anymore to gain their acceptance. Naruto mused as he set out, lazily walking through the forest, and thought, where should I go now? I can't go to Suna, they're allies with Konoha, and I can't go to the Wave either. That would be the first place they would look for me. A rustle in the bushes drew him from his thoughts, a kunai finding its way to his hand in an instant. But Naruto sighed in relief for a moment later. It was only a squirrel. His heart was racing against his chest. The blonde seathed his weapon in his pouch and resumed walking, losing himself in the thought once more. I need to go somewhere. They would never think to check somewhere I could lay down to avoid Akatsuki and Hunter Ninja, but it also needs to be a place where I can do some research on what I want from the QB. The blonde frowned, racking his brains for any sort of idea. I've got this. That's the last place anyone would look for me. With a mischievous grin on his face, Naruto leapt into the treetops and set out with a clear destination in mind. Alright, and that will be our stopping point. In the middle of chapter 2 is where I stopped. So hopefully you guys did enjoy the video. If you did, like, comment, subscribe for more. Hopefully you guys like the thing that I'm doing. The next video will most likely be out, or episode 2 will most likely be out in a couple of days or a few days. So hopefully you guys do like this storytelling. I do hope that you did enjoy the video. If you did, comment, like, subscribe for more. And without further ado, peace.